live stream up, so just letting everybody know that.
Just make sure you disconnect the power pack. You don't want to be towing that around.
What do you see me in, Pat, when you get the chance?
It was a 7-3, but hang on. Yeah, is that you taxiing my air?
Roger.
That's what I see you in.
Thank you very much.
Something like that.
There's an aircraft holding on 07, but I can't see him on transmitter.
That's not unusual, unfortunately.
I got it on transmitter.
Jonathan?
Yep.
Jonathan?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hey, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
No.
See, there's going to be a few people failing the ramp test tonight.
Like we're doing our usual, we take off from both ends of the airfield at once.
Joe's in the red My Air livery tonight.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, Jonathan.
Yes.
I heard you in one of your videos that you had a problem with scrolling the bugs for the compass, that it takes a long time.
Yes.
What I do is I just put my mouse on it and press the left button and move to the right, and then it's going to very fast.
It doesn't work on every aeroplane, unfortunately.
Okay. Just find out.
I just taxied into the building and bent my prop.
Joe?
Yes, sir?
You might want to come round and lower your undercarriage, because I think you've got bits of tree and leaves and stuff like that when you took off, mate.
Yeah, rubbish.
And not from where I was sitting.
I shall open the bomb bay doors as I pass.
I'm gonna take off and go a bit.
Radio chat?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks a lot.
Hello, good evening.
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 Hello.
Hello.
Taxi,
Hello.
landing.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello. Evening.
Challenger is doing a low pass for a foliage check.
Leaf it out.
Oh dear. Hang on, somebody's hitting the somebody's hitting the air runway.
Yeah, I can see a tree, Joe.
I'm sure it's not shrubbery. We are the pilots who say D.
It's more like a vineyard.
It's going to be nice with the ATC training later on.
Yeah, agreed. It'd be good.
Who's doing ATC?
Roy,
Roy?
yeah.
Yeah, Roy's volunteered to do it.
That's great.
I'm going to have to give this aircraft a miss because I don't know what I'm doing.
That's so unusual, Pat.
Joe, you
Good
took...
evening, gents.
Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening, Bill.
Is it my turn by any chance? To have the P taken, that is.
Well, no, come on, Pat.
But does anybody know why there's a yellow X on runway 25?
It's closed.
Used.
It's closed.
Ignore it.
Apart from the VirtualFlight.Online flying, we're allowed to use it this evening.
Okay, I'm glad we got special permission then.
Lee, what are you flying?
Patrick, if you have a look at my stream, you'll see my aircraft, and I'll let some kids paint it for
I
me
haven't
this
got
afternoon.
time.
Look at my stream, and you'll see my wonderful airplane that the children painted for
That
me.
is awful. That is absolutely awful.
Oh man.
You surely wouldn't be allowed to fly that, would you, in real life?
You certainly stand out in the crowd.
Yeah. Well, they'll find the wreckage okay, won't they?
What are you inferring? My flying's bad. Are you switching this round now, Pat? We were taking the mick out of you, not me.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be a Spitfire. What's that? Is that Joe?
It's coming in for a low pass and a foliage check.
Yeah, it's definitely foliage hanging out the undercarriage.
Well, you can't see it from there.
Right, Spitfire. Here he comes. Oh, that looks so good, Joe. That livery is... Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to get finished.
Yeah, big one today.
Right, Spitfire. Lee, did you get Ray Hanna's Spitfire livery?
I don't think I've seen that yet. Is it on flights in TO?
Yep.
I shall get that later, thank you.
You got the Flying Iron one or the other one?
Flying iron.
Because that's what the livery's for.
I think the Spitfire would look good in the livery that I've got now.
No, it wouldn't. I didn't realise the other day they'd completely stopped the Reno air races.
Yep.
Wasn't there an accident?
Yeah, apparently it's not because of the accidents, because they want to build the town up. And they didn't want debris all over the town. No, seriously, it was also dying out, they reckon. less and less people every year.
Okay, I guess I'll do the talky bit before we get started, before I hand over to Peter to lead us on our merry band around the French countryside. So welcome to VirtualFlight.Online to everybody. I'm sure a lot of you have flown with us before. Anybody that hasn't, we try to do about 120 knots or so along the route. If you do get massively ahead of the group, just fly orbits at the next airfield, and watch people coming in. It's always good entertainment to watch and, to goad people into putting some pressure on them maybe. But yeah, it's just relaxed conversation along the way. We'll try and follow the flight plan together. If you are running transmitter, then that means everybody else will be able to see one little map if you're using it. But yeah, otherwise just have fun. It's just a relaxed flight. Just please keep the conversation in the channel family friendly, and it is being broadcast live on YouTube, so just keep that in mind. Okay.
I'll get it right one of these days, Jonathan.
When are we doing ATC?
I don't know. It's up to Roy when he's available to do it. I think he's going to do some ground school first with everybody that might not have done it before, just to do a Q&A session.
He's going to publish it on Discord, isn't he?
I think the big worry is that he'll arrange a session and 50 people will turn up.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Voice check, please.
Yes, we can hear you, Ellis.
Thank you. I wonder what the hell but it helps if you plug your mic in, eh?
Yeah.
I wonder why you were so quiet just now. It's 8 o'clock, everybody, so it's time to be off.
So first leg, 10 miles or 8 and a bit miles, 6 degrees.
Time to head for the seaside.
Just north of St Malo, there's some nice rocks in the sea. I don't know if they're on the SEM map. This is the Ransom River.
I know we say it all the time, but I do think the French countryside is really pretty.
Yeah, it looks great. It's beautiful.
There's all the sheet houses. Farmhouses, I should say.
There's hardly any wind today, is there? So I guess we can go straight in runway 35.
Oh, some of those rocks are simulated.
Actually, I'm going to go for runway 30 at St Malo, because that's directly into the wind then, isn't it?
That's what I'm going for, Jonathan.
Yeah. Fly on further on up to Dinard and then over to St Malo.
You're quite faint for me, David. I don't know if you are for everybody else.
How am I for everybody else?
Fine.
I can hear you okay.
I can hear you.
For me.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'll turn my engines down then.
Turn them off, Pat.
I can see 4 or 5 rocks stuck up, but there's about 10 times that number in reality.
The rest are just a bit posh.
We should keep still, Liam, and find it difficult to get a missile lock on you.
Oh, that's wicked. Did you hear that, guy? He's going to shoot me down.
I wonder what you look like in my sim. If Joe doesn't get you, I will. Or should I just get Joe?
Oh no.
Okay, next leg, 27 miles, 81 degrees.
Another bent prop.
Not forgetting twice around St Michael's Mount.
Oh yes, of course.
Is that Marks and Spencer's one?
No, I think they've withdrawn from France, haven't they?
But of course.
When I was a kid, I always thought that was somewhere off Devon.
Well, it is. It's just a long way off of Devon.
One is Mount St Michael and the other's St Michael's Mount.
Mont-Saint Michel.
Yeah.
I'm not having much fun at the moment.
Flown over some warehouses full of booze that the English tourists pick up before ferrying it home.
They don't do that anymore.
I don't suppose they do. They'll be taxed on it, won't they?
Well, the Tesco's used to have a big shop in City Europe, and that's gone now. You have to go to Carrefour or Carrefour, whatever they call it.
There's an awful lot of Beechcraft Bonanzas out tonight.
Yeah.
That's a great aircraft.
Yeah, I think it's become a default.
It's a lovely aircraft to fly.
I think in a couple of weeks' time there'll be a lot of Barons around as well.
Why would that be, Jonathan?
Black Square are releasing the Analog Baron.
Oh, that's right, they are too. Didn't somebody else put one out?
What, Baron?
The analog version, or is it?
That's the Bonanza.
It,
That's the one they're on about.
Oh, okay.
So Black Square so far, they've done the Caravan, the Bonanza, and the King Air.
That's right.
The King Air is also awesome plane to fly.
It is. It's fantastic fun.
It's a bit too fast for these flights, though.
GA, if you want to go somewhere quickly, it's pretty good.
The King Air to me is just a slow exec jet.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it almost as fast as the TBM?
I don't think it's quite that quick. Oh, they could be. I haven't looked at it.
I think it climbs better.
It used to be the plane, really, wasn't it? Until the fast turboprop singles came out.
I think it was.
Saw a King Air coming into Gatwick yesterday. Didn't have time to get my phone out to do flight radar.
Little nav map says runway 21 here, guys.
Yeah, that would make sense. Or if you can do a really short runway, 32.
Yeah. I can handle that, Jonathan. I'm in a caravan.
No sim update. Next one's out on Tuesday, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Does anybody know what this update is bringing?
What it is, a world update or a sim update, or they've had many different kinds of updates these days, don't they?
It's a sim update, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sim update.
Is it the WASM update they were on about for the Xbox guys?
Yeah, that's in it.
Yeah, yeah.
So am I right in thinking that a lot of the shaders on a lot of the planes that they haven't been able to have on the Xbox will suddenly work?
Hopefully.
How is Xbox performance-wise compared to the PC?
It's probably better. If you were to consider the amount of grunt it's got compared to a couple of £1,000 PC, considering it costs 25% of the cost of the PC and it will outperform it, it's better. For pound, it's much, much better.
Yeah.
But that's the advantage you get of developing for a known, consistent platform. You can obviously tune the software.
But I'm thinking graphics-wise, I mean, the graphics engine, can it really compete with a 40 series or something like that?
No, but certainly against the 30 series, it will run ultra 60 frames a second all day long.
That's incredible.
But obviously on the PC, we've got a load of add-ons for it now that really, stress it to death, like things like the Phoenix Airbus, where you can't do those things with an Xbox. You can't run a flight model outside of the simulator.
Can't even get the Phoenix to work on my computer.
Yeah, it's quite a stressful piece of kit.
And I got a 1080 Ti's, so... I think it's about time to upgrade.
Right, so I can see St Michael's Mount appearing in front of me. Well, sorry, Mont-Saint Michel.
Mont-Saint Michel. I'm just about to see that, because there's add-on scenery for it in P3D. Interesting to see what this is like.
This was a featured upgrade, so it's part of the French scenery. So it's very, very good.
When I got the kids to paint this plane, they even painted the wheels. If you have a look at the stream.
Oh, very nice.
Right wall.
Oh, pretty.
Go on, you did it yourself, really, Lee, didn't you?
And he smeared the paint over where he tried to put writing on the side, and it all come out backwards.
It's quite cool though that they've got all the mud modelled underneath the water along the coast here.
It's a muddy area.
The mount looks like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Or you could say it
Game of Thrones, I was thinking.
Lord of the Rings is copied from here.
True.
Is that a castle or a church there on the rock?
It is an abbey, isn't it, Patrick?
Sorry, say again?
I believe it's an abbey, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
I think that one is an add-on on Flight Sim TO.
I think with a lot of the updates over the world updates, a lot of the add-on sceneries just are not needed anymore, are they?
We're waking up the monks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan, I did a full stop before I crossed 03.
Very cool.
I decided to do a full stop so the everybody else, I can wait for everybody. I was getting a bit ahead.
Right. Let's go about 70 degrees down from here.
Righto guys, I'm sitting here and I'm watching. I'm going to score yous out of 10.
Very muddy under the water, isn't it? How deep is it?
Very shallow.
So is everybody landing the wrong way?
I'm going around the airfield and coming in the other side.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, I'm doing an approach for 2-1.
Yeah, me.
I went
Come
swimming.
on, Matt. You can have a go at 3-2. Come on, guys. Challenge.
I'm going to do it.
Well, I'm heading for 3-2.
Be there in a second.
Downwind.
Right, I can see 3-2.
I see you in a caribou, I think, Ellis.
No, I'm in a caravan.
I know what you're meant to be in. I wonder why I see you as a caribou. I'm assuming that was you.
I'm parked on the ground at the end at
Yeah, I
3-2.
saw you. I saw somebody parked on the ground as I came by.
I'll dodge the bullets and get in the air again.
Captain Chaos is in the caliber.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, I see him as a A320 or.
Likewise.
So I haven't got the Granville. I'm thinking of getting it. It could be fun.
Quite good fun.
Well, my barometer said I was below sea level.
So was I. I had wet feet. Just restarted the sim.
Did you see me, Joe?
Roger.
I did both runways.
Did they get a lot of flatfish like sole or flounder and that in these estuaries? I would imagine so, looking at it.
Mussels.
Mussels? No, there's only one place to get mussels, mate.
Green lip ones.
That's dead right. They're native, of course, and we might let other people eat them.
So, off up to Granville next. 335 degrees, 14 or 15 miles.
Go, Granville.
He was classic guy, that.
Absolutely.
Old Ronnie Barker, he was a character, wasn't he?
It's funny, the two Ronnies, I only found Ronnie Barker funny. I didn't like Ronnie Corbett. And Morecambe and Wise, I only liked Eric Morecambe.
I used to like Ronnie Barker's chats when he used to sit in the chair at the end. Sorry, that was Corbett, yeah.
I met him briefly at Gatwick. Somebody asked him for his autograph. He said, "Can't you see I'm on holiday?"
That's a turn off.
Yep.
Where's the coffee break today, guys? I haven't printed it off.
The next airfield.
Oh, good, good.
So it's at the next one. I know it's a bit early, but at least it's a decent airfield, and the next one, which would be the one, is nothing.
Ronnie Barker, he had I was going to say a junk shop, antique shop.
Norton.
Yeah, Chip and Norton.
Jonathan, I found out that Shift G locks the tail wheel on the DC3. So you don't have to go looking for that view to do it. Just hit Shift 3, it locks the tail wheel.
Is it easy to fly?
No.
No.
It was so funny actually, when the DC3 first came out, everybody was belly aching online saying, I mean, it's obviously rubbish, no aeroplane would be this difficult, blah blah blah. And then I had a real DC3 pilot message me on the quiet and he said it's the closest I've seen to the real thing on any simulator. He
She just lumbers along, eh?
Yeah, the problem is the tail is so heavy, it's probably the easiest plane in the world to do a ground loop with. You know, as soon as you slow down, the tail wants to accelerate past the nose.
I find when you take off, if you don't set the trim before you take off, you're going to do a ground loop. Well, not a ground loop. You just sort of go vertical off the runway, and
you
next
have to
minute
hold
you're in the
nose
ground.
down. It's very, very sensitive to power over the surfaces. So as you're accelerating, you really have to hold nose down because that heavy tail is trying to drag the nose up.
Well, I'm putting it out there, guys. I'm putting together a project so that we can all fly NZ, 4536, the aircraft that actually exists and does scenic flights. And I was going to put one together so we could all fly it and do the scenic flight that it does out of Auckland. And but I think everybody will need about 6 months practice, okay?
I think the only trick to it is on landing, you can't land it on idle. To do an easy landing, you need to keep a little bit of power on to keep some air moving over the tail, and then you can you remain in control of it. Otherwise,
the tail when it's on the ground.
You got to come in at about 100 mile an hour, don't you?
Pretty much.
And, yeah.
And then it becomes easy.
Oh well, I need a bit more practice, Jonathan. But I'm getting there.
Yeah, I did ground loop after ground loop when I was learning it, and the real pilot turned around and said, yeah, the real thing was a nightmare like that, and you had to basically dance on the rudder all the way down the runway.
You do. I had
for the best landing here, by the way.
I had problems because I've got the Alpha yoke with the startup procedures because it's twin engine. Every time I twisted the knob, it tried to start both engines at the same time, but I got round that. I just modified the profile.
Right, runway 24 then.
Yeah, that looked right.
According to a little nav map.
I'd say 06.
Winds from the west, 8 knots.
Oh yeah, I turned it off. Forgot. Sorry.
Actually, no, on the ground it's 183 knots.
Can't make up its mind at the moment.
It's swirling around a little bit. I think what I'll do
Map saying 2-4.
Yeah, I think I'll orbit the airfield and watch others coming in before I come in.
How fast are you going, Joe?
Well, I'm not telling, officer. I was doing 355 knots.
All of a sudden I can't catch you anymore.
I wonder why.
You know your flaps have fallen off, don't you? Cool, the wing bend on that.
Yeah, well, I'm slowing down for you. I did manage an angle of attack of 24 degrees and it's still flying.
When you were turning, I was watching your stream, wings were really bent.
Yeah, So now dropping out the sky in a flat spin, except not spinning. Oh, hello. Are you watching me live stream now?
Yep.
Just a reminder to everybody that both Jersey and Guernsey have ILS approaches.
Thank you.
Apologies for skid marks.
Not sure if a Spitfire has an ILS.
I think reverse thrust is going to work at 260 knots.
You know this is a full stop, Joe?
Yeah. If I can get the gear down. Ah, touch, come on, touch. Touch.
Oh dear.
In the drink. Full power.
Sorry, Alan.
Well, we've got a lineup of 3 Bonanzas here, looking smart.
Looking good.
Why did you have right turn now? It's just a slow down. Coffee time.
Yeah, I'm going to go and grab a quick coffee. Right, back in a couple of minutes.
If you're watching, Pat, you'll notice that your paint has a real kind of wet look.
Right. We go and taxi out and orbit the airfield.
You don't see me as a Spitfire, Lee.
Good evening, everyone. Mic check, please.
Evening, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, good evening.
Hi, Emmanuel. Vibes.
Sorry, I decided to take off from a French airport, so everyone was on strike. That's why I'm late. So, did you have a good visit of the Mont-Saint Michel?
We did. Just realised I didn't notice it on approach. There's a whacking great golf course next to the airfield here.
You sure it's right next to it? It's not a fair way away.
You've had too much tea, Pat.
Oh.
Right, leave him alone, he's just playing around.
Oh. You had to chip in, didn't you?
Oh my word.
Well, you're the driver.
That's about par for the course.
Mm-hmm.
That's
really rough. That's just rough.
Yeah, you've got to play the fairway.
Did you see the eagle on the approach?
That was no eagle, it was the albatross.
What's that on your screen? Oh, it's a bogey.
It's not funny.
I'm just rebooting the sim, it seems to be taking forever.
I've noticed a few people saying it seemed to have taken longer to load just recently.
And I've got a lot of stuff on it, but it does seem to be a bit longer than normal.
Mine took longer tonight because I'm trying out a lot of the VFR stuff again, like the Mamu set of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like the power lines, the gondolas and things like that. It was funny, earlier I went and did the live stream through the Alps to go and have a look and see what it looked like, and had the most atrocious weather I've seen in quite some time, so I couldn't really see much further than the end of my own wing.
Oh.
And I flew the Vilga, the little Polish aeroplane.
Yes.
And I had read about this thing that you can do to the engine in it, where you can freeze it and you kill the engine. and I was descending down the mountainside merrily in towards Virtualflight, and the engine died, and the only thing I could think is it was minus something outside. I was descending into much denser air, and yeah, it killed the engine.
Interesting.
Tried to air start it, tried all sorts, and I got absolutely nowhere.
Sounds awesome.
Well, it wasn't awesome at that moment, but yeah, I was impressed.
Where did you pick the bits up?
Well, I nearly got away with it. I had a one chance at an empty field on a hillside, and I came in too heavily and tipped it on its nose.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yes. I'll have to go and have a read of it though to see what the proper recovery procedure is if that happens. I think that it may be that it is irrecoverable if you get into that situation.
It wasn't carburetor ice then?
I don't think so. I think it was just descending into cold air. I'm not sure what the actual, the physics of it are.
Because I mean, normally descending into cold air shouldn't do.
Well, yeah, I'm guessing you're descending into much more dense cold air.
You'll probably find there's a check every 10-15 minutes, and if you go through that check, whatever it needs to do, it will do to alleviate that.
This is a funny thing because I know the way the Vilga is with its temperatures and stuff. I was watching it like a hawk through the flight, and then of course the minute I look away, chug 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 chug.
And the mixture was full rich.
I think so. I need to. I'll go and have a read, see if I can recreate it at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Next route is head 271 degrees for 27 miles, and after that we're heading over the water.
Okay, turning 271.
Roger that.
Starting up again.
You had your coffee, Ellis?
Yeah, I'm coming back here again. That was special. They put cream in it today. Yeah, very nice.
Well, I've just received a present from my brother-in-law of a box of cider, but I daren't drink it after my performance the other night when I had 2 glasses of wine during a group flight and completely arsed up my landing.
Very orderly lot here. Faxing out in perfect file. Look at that. Which runway are we going for?
The other one.
No, one's just gone right. The other guys all went left.
Doing 06 according to the windsock.
I better put a bit of fuel in.
We're going north first.
Well, lucky I kept left coming down there. Scenery here is very cool.
You not got the Dakota, Lee?
Yeah, I've got it, yeah.
Well, I've just seen me. There's a 737 on your screen. I'm immediately in front of you.
Yeah, I'm seeing you as a jet, but I've got the DC-3, yeah.
And I started off with that. I haven't changed it since.
It's weird, isn't it?
I assume that's still me. Turning left in front of you.
Yeah. You're an Airbus.
Weird.
It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, so I restarted my sim. Because I know sometimes if you use the developer's mode...
It could just be a livery issue.
Could be. Oh, virtual flight is what I'm in.
What, the VirtualFlight DC-3?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't got that livery. Yeah.
That's not good enough for you. You should be downloading every single livery. Just in case.
I haven't got any of them installed, don't worry. Not at the moment, anyway.
When we finish, I'll go and do every single one for you, Pat, alright?
I keep having...
It's not for me, it's for you.
It sounds like you want me to do it, so it's what you want.
I keep having complete clear downs of my community folder and then going into add-on linker and trying to be sensible, and then over the course of a few days I end up adding loads of stuff back.
Yeah, I do that a lot. And I forget that I've got stuff as well and never put it back on. Like that Boeing 247.
Countryside's beautiful round here, isn't it?
It is. I'm trying to think of somewhere in France that's not nice apart from Paris. But that's just because it's a big city.
Yeah, these estuaries look really good with the mud flats and so on.
Yeah, agreed. It's really impressive.
At our next airport at Lessay, there's a hangar there in which I was once treated to lunch by Lessay Aero Club as part of a fly-out from Jersey, with the Jersey Aero Club as on one of their fly-ins, which was jolly good fun. One of the main points was, of course, they served us a basic lunch along these long trestle tables, and of course they served us wine as well, which I thought was very thoughtful of them.
Yeah, bunch of flyers, give them wine.
That's it.
Did everybody get home safely?
Well, I think it might have been a little bit wobbly on the way back, but I think we did pretty much, yeah.
I went to tour with work for a meeting, and it involved overnight. But the next day they took us to the works canteen. This is TAT, the airline, and everybody was drinking wine. And I said, "Is that normal?" Yeah, Frenchman's entitled to his glass of wine at lunch. Half of them were half cut by the time we went back. And the lunch lasted 3 hours.
I go every year. I go over and do some fishing with a French fishing club. Before we have our competition, they lay the trestle tables out, and this is like early 7:30 in the morning. French bread, cheese, wine, cognacs, homemade cakes, everything you can imagine, and they're all on the drink before we've even started fishing.
Did I tell you guys about when we went to Amsterdam the other week on the Eurostar, on the way out on the train with the wine? I don't know if I told you or not. So we came up from under the channel on the French side, and it was by then I think we left Euston at about just gone 8 o'clock in the morning. Not Euston, sorry, St Pancras in London. So it was probably gone 10 o'clock by the time, after going through the station and doing everything. And so we come up on the French side of the countryside, and the train's accelerating out to kind of 200 miles an hour. And the charming French waiter comes around the carriage offering wine to everybody at 10:30 in the morning. And the lady behind us says, "But it's only 10:30 in the morning." And very, very calmly, the waiter just said, "But we are on the continent now, madam." And she accepted the wine.
Yeah, but that's hour ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 11:30. I'll give them that. Yeah.
We used to do booze cruises, and did you ever do one, Lee? One that Harry and Stuart organised.
I don't think I went on one of theirs, but I have done one.
We used to get on the ferry and start playing pop-up pirate, and the loser had to drink a shot. But luckily I never lost. I wouldn't have drunk it anyway, because I would have to drive on the way back. But, it was a coach trip.
That reminds me of a friend of ours, Jonathan, I'll tell you as well. We had a party this one night, and it was a game much the same as you're talking about, Patrick, where if you lost, you had to drink whatever, there was brandy, whiskey, a lot out, and the chap that came had his own homemade wine as well. Dear. Jonathan's brother Julian, he was playing, and a friend of his from work, they both worked in Abingdon at that time, and my friend Harry is dead now, but he was moaning and groaning because he didn't lose any rounds, and he was a big drinker at that time. He was really big sick that he wasn't losing any. Where he had to have a drink.
Yeah.
And it was quite comical. But what was funny, the one young lad of Julian's friend from work, him and his wife went to go to bed, and they had to carry him up the stairs. Then he was sick in the bed. They had to lift him out of there and put him in the bath him, and he was still not fit for work about 3 days later. It was comical.
Honestly, the English and alcohol, only the British could think that was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I spoke to God quite a few times. And that big white bass and thingy.
The big white phone.
Yeah.
That's right.
Who's at the end of the runway?
My plane's just done a little diversion to line up for the runway.
Ah, there it is. I'm getting a bit better at this, finding these runway.
Captain Chaos is at the end of the runway.
This is a touch and go, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Touch and goes all the way now.
There's somebody in a caribou that I see in pink check.
Are you all going for 2-4?
Yeah.
Roger.
It looks like it's full blown spring here. Which this time next week, of course, it will be.
Does that mean I've got to get up earlier?
Yep.
Just have a look at this.
No, I think you can get up later, Ellis, because we go forwards. What do you do? Nothing.
We stay as where we are for another couple of weeks. I think I go back 1 hour, so it'll be an 8 a.m. start for me, and then we go back to 7 a.m. Marry up with you guys. Still, you guys are the majority. You take a half a day out of my lovely summer's days. Because it's usually about 11 a.m. by the time we're finished.
Has it stopped raining there yet?
Oh, we're having beautiful weather at the moment, Dave. Absolutely stunning. I love this time of the year. It's the best time here. Still days, no wind, clear skies. We did a quick trip up to Auckland over the weekend to take one of the grandsons out for his birthday lunch. I thought they'd give up when they turned 16, but no, they don't. Instead of costing us a donut and a coffee, it's now $100 odd every time we go. Anyway, coming home, we called in at the batch, and my oldest boy had been down for the weekend, and they had a lovely haul of fish, so we got fresh fish to bring home, which was very nice. Guess what's for dinner tonight?
Lamb.
No. Lovely bit of snapper, or bream as you guys would call it probably. Got about 16, I think. Very good. So a lot of people will get a feed. I might try LS here. What do we got? 110.3. Switch to the
311 now. Sorry, say again.
It's the first time I fly the Black Square Bonanza. The cockpit is just marvelous.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, the views in VR are brilliant. If you push your hat switch to the left, it takes you all over the place.
I just like that everything works.
Strangely enough, I just had a problem with the autopilot, which it wouldn't turn off. And so I turned the avionics off, and then back on again, and of course that rebooted everything and then it worked fine.
Ah.
That's like real life.
Yeah. Yeah, when you fly a plane this realistic, you really do have to think about what you would actually be doing in real life, actually.
Yeah.
The other end, just past the airport in Jersey, I went through the biggest sea or waves I've ever seen on my boat.
Anyone doing the ILS at Jersey, it's 110.30.
Yep, onto it. Thank you, Peter.
Is Jersey one of those tax havens?
Yes, it is.
It sort of, yeah.
30.
Have to be a millionaire to buy a home there.
Well, it helps. I'll say that it helps. There's two levels of housing, one for locals, people born there, and one for outsiders.
My late brother-in-law spent all his childhood there, and because his dad was born there and his sister was born there, he could only own a house there when his father died.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
It's quite amusing. I used to know a girl that lived and worked on Guernsey, which is the other island. Jersey and Guernsey are full of financial institutions, obviously, like we were on about, with tax exiles and financial management companies, let's call them that. And all the people that work there, or the majority of the people that work there, were born on the island. So they are not qualified for these extremely important jobs that they have. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
But nobody else is qualified.
Well, no, they won't let anybody come in that is qualified because they can't get a house there. So they end up hiring the locals who do not have the appropriate qualifications or experience to do the jobs they're doing.
Right.
Sounds like Jamaica.
What do they say? You learn pretty quick when you jump off a cliff.
Exactly. 263.
Little nav map looks impressive if you've got transmitter on. Have a look at that now.
Yeah, there's a whole cloud of us.
Yeah, it looks great.
Is it 110.3?
Roger.
Yes. 263 degrees. Three-degree glide slope. It's only a Cat 1 ILS, so if you're going to try and use Autoland, good luck with that.
So it just reminded me the last time I came out of St Helier on my boat, nearly got run over by the ferry.
That's the golden rule, never ever get in the way of a ferry.
It was one of those high-speed things doing about 45 knots.
That's a Condor.
Yeah, you got him. That rough sea I was on about is just northwest of the Corbière Lighthouse. troughs, from the bottom of the troughs to the next wave was like 50 feet.
That's quite a big sea.
They were long, don't get me wrong, you know, but yeah, they were, you thought, Jesus Christ, when you saw that as you fell into the trough and the wave passed underneath you. And then we had a boat about a quarter of a mile away, and we didn't see him for about an hour because he was in the bottom of the trough when we were at the top, sort of thing, of the next trough. That's some years now, isn't it, Jonathan, when we went down to St Mary's?
Yeah, it is. That's before we had kids. That would have been about 2007, 2006 maybe?
Yeah, just a bit.
Winds are picking up.
They are. I was just thinking, I'm never going to grow tired of when you're lining up on an ILS or something, you know, and you've been busy looking at the instruments for 10 minutes, and when you get within a couple of miles, you look up over the dash and you can see the runway exactly where it's supposed to be.
I've just had a message. Just had a message from Jersey Airport. He shut the runway.
Too bad.
Why did you tell them we were coming?
He didn't. He looked out the window.
You joke, but Jersey used to close. We used to have trouble getting in there sometimes because of the weather. And they'd turn around, they'd call us and say, don't bother sending it. Well, can we have an extension? No. The guy that's here has been on a double, he's going home.
Sounds about right.
So what did you do? Get your life jackets out or something?
No, that was where my job kicked in. You start getting hotel accommodation sorted out at Gatwick. It's hideous because it's a Cat 1 airfield and they won't upgrade it.
It's very bumpy.
I'd call you then, Lee, wouldn't I? Got any hotels? Got any rooms left on the allocation?
Hello, hello.
Hiya.
Hello.
Evening.
You're late.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just watching some plane that looks like somebody's thrown up all over it with a colour scheme. Lee's plane.
Oh wait, got the kids to paint that from you specially.
That'd be why then. Looks like a scene out of Pushing Tin or something, you know. 20 planes trying to land on a runway. Is this where you're all going to sell your planes tax-free?
There is some turbulence here, isn't there?
Yep.
Jersey Aero Club used to have a lovely rally every year, but unfortunately they don't do it anymore, which is a real shame. It used to be quite a good do. So now we're left just with Guernsey and Alderney.
Oh, but Jason's not in a Spitfire today. He's in a 310.
The problem with this bumpiness is that you're all lined up and then all of a sudden you're not.
Left circuit?
It doesn't really matter. I'm just flying around to film people coming in, really.
It is rather bumpy.
I think that was my first perfect landing.
Well done.
Congratulations.
this for Guernsey is 108.10.
Yep.
There are too many clouds. I cannot see New York. Looking on the left.
New York is a little far away.
Yeah, and too many clouds. Mostly the clouds.
You're just not high enough, that's all. You're not trying.
I'm using the turbo version of the Bonanza. I haven't realized even on the noise they have added the noise of the turbo when it's going on or off.
It's good, isn't it?
Really well done. Really well done.
They sound very good.
That on flightsim.to?
No, he's talking about the Black Square Bonanza.
Oh, you got to go to Black Square to get it. Okay.
Hayware, Harris, I think.
What, say again?
I believe it's payware, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm sure it is. Oh, hell yeah. That much.
$32, isn't it? Or something like that?
Yeah. I won't buy it because I don't fly the Bonanza anyway.
Is that the only Bonanza with analog?
No, you can also get there is the other, Microsoft did the previous version a few months ago, which was the older, V-shape tail Bonanza. This one has also some analog dials, but it's less precise compared to the other.
That's the Widowmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, the 35, the V-tail.
Yeah, the Doctor Killer, as its nickname was. Probably find out there was one doctor killed by it, and it went viral in the news.
Probably the BBC reported it.
Oh, here we go.
Well, if the doctor had been immunised even, he would have gone viral.
Oh my word. See, why has everybody got it in for the BBC in particular? Because they're all as bad as each other.
Yeah, but BBC lead the pack, don't they?
People tend to think that whoever doesn't agree with them is rubbish.
Well, that's just rubbish.
Yep, I agree.
Fuck, complete garbage.
Being half serious about it for a moment, it's the big problem with the social internet because of the algorithmic timeline. It slowly but surely surrounds you with people who agree with you, and that slowly but surely makes little groups of very extreme views.
Yep.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
Echo chambers.
I blame the BBC for doing that.
Poor old BBC, it's always their fault.
I personally believe that ITV are worse. They're absolute liars.
Well, they're trying to get viewers, aren't they? So they're going to be sensationalist.
That's just ridiculous too.
Well, what about Tony Blackburn? Because he's always simply sensational.
Simply sensational.
So what's this island we're just passing by on the side of...
Sark. Oh, which end of the runway are you?
Oh yeah, it is Sark. I just didn't realise that was where Sark was.
If you look to the right of the island, there's a bridge linking the two halves together.
Yeah, I can see.
What are you flying, Pat?
EC3. Well, I'm in the virtual flight livery, which apparently nobody has got.
Yeah.
I haven't, but I see you as a Baron. So.
Yeah, well, if you check my live stream, there you'll see a 737.
Yeah, that's what Lee saw.
Well, with Lee's, I don't know what you call it, paint scheme on his plane, I've started to play some 60s and 70s playlist. So,
that's really cool,
that's
man.
What I call, that's what I call a livery.
Yeah, I've got some Rolling Stones going at the moment, and it's quite suitable for the plane
we
I'm
could make
looking
an
at
album,
right now.
couldn't we? Playlist album for group flights.
Yeah.
Copyright this.
Each plane is a song.
That's a David Bowie playing that one.
I like a bit of Paint It Black.
First song should be I Believe I Can Fly, right?
Riders of the Storm, The Doors.
Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Wings.
Oh, there's lots. There's lots.
Johnny Cash, one bit at a time.
You're going to need more than one album, you know that. It'd have to be a double-sided album or...
Fly me to the moon.
I've got Purple Haze here. I could choose Jimmy Hands it. That's quite suitable for that plane. So.
Yeah. Pat could do Help, couldn't you, Pat?
I could.
Fire.
You're doing your engine shutdowns, you know. Big balls of fire.
Or
Given the
approach
cost of
cloud
that,
if you leave me now.
Or, hang on, leaving on a jet plane.
There you go.
Given the cost of add-ons, we can have others money.
Add-ons have never been cheaper. Back in the old X-Plane days and FSX days, people were paying £80 and £90 for an aeroplane.
And the rest.
Yep, remember that.
VMDG must have the record, about 160 quid, wasn't it? For the
135, I think I paid for the 747.
Yeah, but you could buy a Curly Whirly for 10p back then.
Yeah.
So in today's money, they were £1,000 a plane then.
And the curly whirly lasted all day.
There we go, and a wagon wheel was the size of a frisbee.
You were lucky to have a frisbee.
What's a frisbee?
There were 4 fingers in a Kit Kat.
And Toblerones didn't have gaps in them.
Everything was better back then.
and for a tin of roses you needed a wheelbarrow.
Half the size, though, aren't they, Dave?
A quarter, less than that.
It's got really bad the last 2-3 years. The amount of, you know, like Chris in a packet. I got a packet of Chris the other day, and I'm not kidding. It was probably not even quarter full.
I'd say the last tin, I'll call it a tin, container of roses had less than what used to be in a carton.
Yeah.
Well, you were lucky to have roses. I mean, all we had was Quality Street.
I prefer them. But going back to crisps, at least they haven't changed the price.
You're gonna do that Monty Python sketch now, aren't you?
Yeah,
back in my
yes,
day, back in my day, well, you were lucky to have shoes.
That were luxury.
You were lucky if you had half a dozen Quality Street in a box.
A box?
What's happened recently with the companies is they've reduced the actual package size without changing cost.
Yeah.
Well, when I say a box, it was a bit of paper folded up, but it was a box to us.
An Xbox.
Paint it
Used to
green.
be a box.
I remember back when I was at junior school, I learnt the way of the world, the horrible way. I used to buy the same comic every week, the Beano, and it went up in price one week, and they gave away a special thing on the front of the comic, and then the next week it was still the same raised price with no extra thing on the front, and I was absolutely aghast about it.
I used to dream of having a Beano. I was lucky if you could get the dandy.
Did you get pocket money? That were luxury.
Beezer.
You had pockets?
Your dad told me it wasn't pocket money, it was a loan. He's still waiting for you to pay it back.
Well, it might have been a loan, but it was pocket money to us.
I don't know if it's the same in UK, but for you mentioned reducing the size even for the bottles of Coca-Cola or Pepsi now. They are just reducing for the same price. You used to have big bottles of 1.5 liters. Now it's 1.25. So it's virtually the same size when you see it in the supermarket, if you don't notice it. But just for the same price you get less now.
Yeah, they're all doing it, you know. The packets of coffee or things that would have 10 things in, now they've got 8 things in, and 5, and sliced meats that used to have 5 slices, and now they got lucky if you get 3.
They haven't done it with eggs though, have they?
No, that's because you can't buy any eggs. Not down this way.
Oh, you can here, just go in the local shop.
There's not enough to go around.
No, apparently there's plenty of eggs to go around. It's that the supermarkets won't pay the price that the farmers demand now for their eggs.
Well,
so.
you've got to shell out for them, haven't you?
Eggs. You know, there's also
don't crack
large
me up.
egg anymore. If you buy eggs that say large on the packet, they're medium.
Yeah.
There's some bad yolks coming out tonight, boys.
Oh, it's too exciting.
Don't egg me on.
Is radio scrambled?
Give up.
Poach that joke from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm flying near Poach at the moment.
Oh dear. I think you'll have to get exiled.
Just get excess about it.
I can see the whites of the ATC controller's eyes.
I'm
Speaking
gonna
of which, where's Roy?
Riders of the Storm for this landing. Riders of the Storm.
Is Roy a no-show then?
Well, he can't fly GA until he replaces his yoke, can he?
Oh, I thought he was going to do ATC.
At some point.
Oh, I thought it was tonight.
No, it'll be. He's going to do, I think, a classroom thing first to take people through it that have never done it. So instead of turning up and asking questions while trying to do it, we'll have a bit of a session on the ground first.
When you said replacing yoke, I thought you were still on the egg jokes.
Excellent.
Right, off to Alderney.
He's going to create special events for it, isn't he, Jonathan?
I think so. So I think he'll like man the tower at a given airfield of his choosing and put a note out. Sometimes it'll be an event with a few days in advance, sometimes it'll just be a few hours, when he's got time.
Can we buzz the tower?
You can, you'll probably have to buy him a packet of biscuits to say sorry though.
I think how he's going to do it, split half up so half can take off and the other half be landing.
I'm sure they'll try different things every time.
Yeah.
Just to get us all confused and then sort the mess out.
Negative, Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
I think it's just to familiarise anybody that's never flown with ATC to get used to it. That's all. It's nothing strict about it, you know what I mean?
Have you not heard Roy on ATC? Well, he's an absolute taskmaster. Joking. He's very patient.
Well, he is with Dave.
We've all had our moments when we've cocked up on group flights.
What's the runway then at Alderney?
26.
It's that black thing.
With numbers at either end.
Yeah.
Can't we go in on the 3-2's a grass one, isn't it? And the other one.
The black thing with numbers on either end, and that's how I crashed into the petrol station.
Hey David, it looks like 3-1 to me. Have you got new glasses or something?
3-2.
Well, it can't be 3-1 and 3-2.
3-1 it is.
Somebody's at the wrong airport.
The
3-1 one end, 13 the other, 2-1 or 0-3.
2-6 is probably the best, isn't it?
Yeah, 2-6 is the one. That's the
Preferred runway is 2-6.
Wind on the ground is 280 at 7 knots.
There's a nice GPS approach at Alderney, or RNP as they call it, for runway 26, routing via Torvey in this instance.
It might be better to do the ATC on a different night rather than a Sunday.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Chaos otherwise.
Yeah, Fridays or Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm guessing it'll be down to whenever Roy's available. The one problem we have got is he hasn't got a smartphone, so he can't set up multi-factor auth. So I'll have to put, if we do events a few days in advance, I'll have to put it in for him. Because there's a rule in Discord that they've built into it that you can't create events unless you've got multi-factor auth set up.
Yeah.
Do you need a multi-factor for the Discord server?
No, you don't. But if you want to create an event, you have to.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Well, Pat, do you fancy doing some training sessions over in Austria, Switzerland way?
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay.
We did have a session over there earlier on. That was a lot of fun.
Certainly was.
Remember that? That's when I first remember you, Ellis.
Hey, listen, I've still got the boot with Ellis in. Flying a circle at 150 knots. I mean, come on. And a cup of coffee in one hand.
Should do a treasure hunt flight, have a few strategic planes on the ground that people have to find.
I mean, as long as you don't use add-on scenery, nobody's got it. And also, I think depends on the level of detail you've got switched on.
Yeah, as long as if you set an event up, if you do it a few days in advance, you can write all the instructions.
Yeah.
Just tell everybody to remove all their custom scenery, for example.
Delete your community folder.
Well, Emmanuel's done a few events where he's listed exactly what to go and get from FlightSim.2, for example, and that's worked really well.
That's something I wanted to ask you, Jonathan, too. Since they did the New Zealand upgrade, I already had the Orbix New Zealand Mesh add-on. I think it's still in my community folder, and quite honestly, I think it now causes me problems. I need to get rid of it, don't I?
Don't think you need it now, Ellis, at all.
Yeah, I know, because I think they use the Orbix Mesh anyway in the new update. So
I think you're right.
I think there seems to be a little bit of conflict there. So I'll remove it and I'll report back.
Default is a finer LOD, so I think it's 1
I
meter versus the
removed it.
mesh is 10. Remove it, it works way better.
Thanks for that, guys.
In fact, I think it might say somewhere to remove any previous add-ons. Can't remember.
It depends when they create. For example, Mont-Saint Michel, there has been also previous add-ons before they updated the results. So it really depends on the countries, but usually it's better to have a, let's say, secondary community folder to archive everything.
Yeah. Can I claim a refund?
Right.
It's a total mesh.
The right mesh.
I love 70s tracks and stuff. Such good songs. Run through the jungle.
We're coming now to my favourite flying destination, Alderney. Absolutely a wonderful island and a lovely place to stay for a few days if you get the opportunity.
Why is it your favourite?
I just love Alderney. It's a 1950s throwback island where nothing seems to have changed since we were kids, you know. And for example, they have Alderney Week every summer, and my wife and I went last year to Alderney Week. We flew in for a few days and flew out again. And it's exactly like I remember every town in England used to have a carnival back in the summer, in back the 50s and 60s. And nowhere has them in England anymore. Whereas in Alderney Week they have a proper traditional carnival with floats and people dressed up and people cheering you through the streets and all that kind of stuff. Really good fun, great place.
That's like Jersey with their flower festival, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right, yeah. Very traditional old-fashioned islands, these.
If you want to be chased through the streets, just come to London or something. Some youths will chase you down the street,
And
brandishing knives.
And they'll take your watch as well.
Yeah. You know, Manchester.
Look after your wallet as well.
Where do they get the electricity from? They have local generator, or is there cables between the island?
Yes, there's a local generation plant down in the harbour. I've been to Alderney so many times, I know it quite well actually. It really is a lovely, lovely place. It's so old-fashioned. Nobody locks their front doors, nobody locks their cars, everything just gets left open. It's just like Britain was, say, 40 years ago.
It's like the power station on Guernsey is in St Sampson. It's the only chimney you'll see on the island.
When I first used to come here, if you flew around the island, you could see the side of the island where they just used to dump all the rubbish. The refuse men would collect it conscientiously, and they used to sling it over the cliff into the sea. That thankfully stopped a few years ago.
That's how they used to get rid of cars in Gibraltar. They would just take them to near Europa Point, and then they just push them off the cliff.
I was on Canberra and leaning over the side looking at the sea, and a bath came shooting out the side of the boat into the sea. Big iron bath.
That's P&O economy.
Yeah.
I'm doing a bit of a tourist lap of the island because I've got the boundless scenery for Alderney. It's very good.
It looked very realistic when you did the video.
Of course, there's a castle at that one end, isn't there, on the eastern corner?
It was the most heavily fortified of all the Channel Islands in the war. It's absolutely covered with blockhouses and gun emplacements and everything else. And it was the only one of the Channel Islands to be evacuated completely.
Well, the Germans occupied Jersey and Guernsey, didn't they? And was Alderney
Yeah,
spread,
all
or?
of them. No, all of them were occupied.
Yeah, and as I say, Alderney was evacuated. All the population was sent to Portsmouth before the Germans arrived.
Yeah, even Sark was occupied. That's the old harbour.
Lovely beaches there.
It's a tiny little island. You can walk right round it in a day, but it's got a huge variety of scenery and cliffs and beaches and everything else. It's quite a society in miniature.
Right, we're all going to be booking our flights out.
Yeah, it's well worth it, I promise you.
How long is it from one end to the other?
Just a couple of miles. I say a couple of miles, it may be 2 or 3, but it's not many. And parts of it you could almost throw a stone across from one side to the other.
And that's just one of the local traditions.
Well, throwing a local across the island.
They have a special festival for that. Local throwing.
Right, the wind noise on the DC-3 is way too loud and I can't turn it down.
I'd forgotten the boundless scenery. The altitude is slightly different than the stock scenery, so you're all hovering.
UFOs.
So if after the flight you want to go back to France, the closest area is totally forbidden for aircraft, because this is where there is the nuclear retreatment facility, the big plant.
Oh, really?
So if you go towards LFRC, normally you should be just above the La Hague factory, nuclear factory. So this is where they send all the used nuclear
waste.
Fuel. Yeah, waste, and it is being recycled over there.
Yeah, this part of France, the Chabot Peninsula, has quite a few prohibited areas, and Cap de la Hague is just one of them, as you say.
Is that another one where they trundle up the cliff and throw it over the edge?
I'm not sure they were doing that. I mean, not here, definitely.
No wonder my fish was glowing.
Yeah, Jonathan, I see what you mean. All the planes are all about 30 feet in the air, aren't they, on this island? It's weird.
Yeah, the stock scenery is about 30 feet higher.
What scenery are you using?
Boundless. They make the whole island as one scenery package. It's really good.
Consider you do a group flight, of course.
Yeah.
It's very accurately depicted, this airport as well. They've got the most incredible control tower, which is up on stilts. I don't know if it's like that in the stock scenery. And you can actually climb up some steps on the outside and go way up into the tower. It's fascinating up there, particularly on a windy day.
No, it's just Microsoft's usual block.
Have you been summoned to the tower when you've been there?
Not summoned, but I have visited.
I have a number for you to call.
I was summoned to the tower in Bournemouth once. That was
really?
That was an experience.
So you just say sorry and get away with it, or?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right, I'm going to shut the live stream down.